Well, hello there. It's Sunday again, August 12th. And here we are, back at the Blue Heinz project. I've done some nice updates this week. Nothing real major, but some nice feel-good stuff. Cars, taking care of these little problems the car has kind of gives you some inspiration to keep going, makes you feel good. And so that's a good part of what we've done this week. Mostly that stuff involves patching the floor, but I did get the battery box installed and made a little more progress on that. Battery box is right up here in the trunk. This is the ground cable coming through the floor. You see we welded the stud right here. So the ground cable, I'm going to solder a terminal on it. The ground cable is going to go right to that stud. And you see there it is. And this is, I haven't cut it off yet, but this is a vent coming out of the battery box. I'll show you more about that when we lower the car. And the other thing that's been going on is, again, we've done some more patching on the frame, filled some more holes. See up here, over here, over here, up here, and worked on patching that mess. That's here, this side's still original. This is what it looks like. This is the upper shock mount, the rear shock mount on the classic Chevys. They all look like this. The shock actually comes off the axle and it mounts right there. It goes up at an angle from the bottom of the spring right here, and it bolts into that hole. And what they've done is they've doubled. They've got the sheet metal that is the part of the trunk floor. You see, this is the upper part, the trunk floor part. So they made that there, and the top of the shock goes through that. And they also put this backup piece to stiffen it. Okay, well, both of those pieces on the passenger side were destroyed. They weren't rotten or whatever, but they were just destroyed, gone. And I think, like I said, I believe the history of this car was that it was drag raced at one point. And the right side is the side that receives all the torque when you leave rather aggressively. So you can see I've made a patch for the inner part. It needs to be tacked in. You can see, I don't know if you can see the little arrows there. That's where it's nice and flush. So we'll tack it in. There's 4 places there. We'll tack it in there. And then if we have to work the other edges up or down a little bit, once it's tacked, we can do that. It fits pretty good now, but it isn't perfect, and I think we can get it more even once we start welding it in. And I also bought a replacement for the double up piece, because like I said, that was destroyed. I was going to make a patch because you see how it sandwiches up under here. And then it dawned on me, I don't need to sandwich it. I just cut it off here, right at that edge. So that's a good weld spot. That's a good place to weld right there. There's a lot of material there to fasten the other piece to. So what I've done is I bought one of those, and I'm going to cut off the section that would sandwich. Here's the piece I took out. You can see I drilled all the spot welds out of it. And let's see if I have the piece that was butchered in here someplace. There's the replacement that they had, a piece of metal they had over all the garbage. I know I threw it in here, and I'm not finding it. Buried in all this metal. I don't know. Well, I must have thrown it away already, I guess. It was up here on the bench with this piece. Anyway, you can see the piece. That's what I cut out originally. I was going to make a patch, and then I decided, you know what, I'll just buy a new one. So you can see where the line is here. That's where I got to cut this off. I laid that one over the top of this one. So when I cut this off, that should mate to where it's cut where it all sandwiches, and we'll weld it there. Like I said, there's a lot of material there to weld it to. Obviously, I'll drill some holes. I'll drill some holes on the flanges, and we'll plug weld it too. So that's kind of the under process. Let me lower the car, and we'll be right back. Okay, well, let's try take two. I tried doing this segment before, and the whole thing came out blurry for some reason. Never focused the whole time I was doing it. Anyway, this is the upper part of the feel-good work we did this week. You can see here, I don't know why this camera, everything that's bare, it turns it, bare metal, it turns it kind of that gold color. It's strange, even on the still pictures. So anyway, we fastened this down. This section from about here to the back was flapping around. It wasn't attached. And the other little section there was just kind of wrinkled. We just massaged that a bit. This is where the gas tank mounts. These bolts are what you fasten those straps on the gas tank to. So anyway, there's the battery box where it's going to live. And you can see all of the stuff exiting it going towards the front there. The hose, or the black thing that looks kind of like a pipe, conduit, raceway, is a dishwasher drain hose that will work perfect for creating a raceway and protecting the positive cable as it works its way up to the front of the car where the starter motor is, under the back seat. And then down through the rocker panel, and it comes out up at the front body mount there, right behind the firewall. And you see there also the clear tubing is the vent for the battery box, and there's a black cable coming out. That's the ground, which is going to go to that stud I showed you on the frame, welded to the frame. There's the front of the upper shock mount. I mean the top part of the upper shock mount. There's that side. That side's still a little butchered, but I'm going to clean that up a bit. But that one's, at least the metal is sound. There's nothing wrong with it. Somebody did a major, you can't see it here, the package tray shelf. Looks like they cut speakers in it with a can opener. You know, the old style pointed can opener or something. I don't know what they use, but boy, is it butchered. So here's what we did in here. I'm really happy with this. This is, like I said, the biggest feel-good part. All the holes you see are patched down here. The tracks where I think they had put something there to mount bucket seats are patched. All the little plugs are welded in where the holes were, again, for, I think, bucket seats. And these up here, I have no idea what those are for. And both sides. All that little corrective work has been done. So, like I said, that's inspirational. That gives us inspiration to move forward because it's coming out pretty nice. I'm anxious to get that patched, tacked in, welded in, and then the backup piece over the top of it. You can see the rear end is still here. My son was telling me he probably won't be here this week because he's busy doing other things. So it'll be a good week for me to get doing some cleanup on this. I have a busy week too with doctor's appointments and stuff, so it all works out. They happen both at the same week. That's good. It's good time now to be doing some cleanup and prep and paint maybe on this, and under the floor in the back, the same area where the rear end goes and the gas tank and all that stuff. I can get that area prepped and hopefully get some paint on it this week. That would be great. You can see the fender is still here. The couch is still here where the fender was living. That got rescheduled. Well, it got postponed. I don't know when it's scheduled. The door is standing up there with the blue blanket over it. The door that I damaged. So my new spring showed up this week. Remember the right rear spring was broken when we took the rear end out, so I bought a pair of them. I'll clean those up, probably put some paint on those too. They came with some kind of nasty tape and adhesive stuck all over them, so they got to be cleaned and put another coat of paint on them probably. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for tagging along and watching what's going on here. Thank you very much. Bye.